Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I'm glad everybody's here. All right, who are we? We welcome to another episode of Love and Beyond the I Do podcast. We are your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie,
That's me.
and we're here to inspire and empower individuals with actionable strategies, tools, insights for developing meaningful, fulfilling relationships and using universal principles, effective communication, and mindset shifts.
That's right. You got to shift your mindset.
That's right.
We also use the Manifest Method framework to help individuals. What do? Create and develop the type of relationship they want.
Ooh, I love
So,
that.
hey, Jason,
Hey.
it's Friday.
Yes.
Cue the music.
All right, let's get it. We about to get it.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
All right.
Hey, so what's up, family? Welcome to another Friday with us.
Yes.
To the Love
Welcome.
and Beyond the I Do podcast, the spot where we talk real talk with real relationships.
Whew. Now today we're going to talk about something that's that a lot of folks think that is a bad sign in relationships, and that is actually the opposite. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, so we're talking about why happy couples still disagree. And listen, we're not here to sugarcoat it, and we're definitely not here to give you that, we'll just communicate better talk, right?
That's funny. That's exactly it, right?
Just communicate
Yeah.
better.
Oh man, we're coming to this we're coming at a different angle, right? We're gonna use a little mindset, a little metaphysics, a little psychology, and a whole lot of truth. And you know who don't want the truth?
Well, some people out there, they don't like the truth.
Ooh.
They don't want the truth. They don't like the truth.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Mm.
People think that, right, if two people disagree or that if you're arguing, that means that something's wrong. They'll be like, oh my goodness, something's wrong. They're arguing.
I don't
They
think-
must
yeah.
want to bring some divorce or we're not compatible. But here's the truth. Disagreements are not the enemy.
Nope.
Disagreements are not the enemy of love. Guess what
Ooh.
is?
What is?
Disconnection is.
Let me say that again. Disagreements don't kill relationships. Disconnection. And sometimes the way we avoid disagreements is actually what makes the relationship flat.
Make it who?
Flat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, flat, like non-existent.
Okay. So when you avoid conflict, you avoid the truth. And when you avoid the truth, you really start to avoid intimacy. And that's why you can be together for 20 or 30 years and you don't really know each other. What happens is that people end up and say, well, who is the person I'm married to?
Yeah. Let's think about that. It could be about energy. I
Okay.
think it's energy.
Well, the truth is that conflict is energy.
Conflict is energy. Ooh.
And it's not an attack.
And it's not an attack.
It's not an attack. So
Okay.
when you argue, it's not an attack.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So let's go ahead and get into how we'll be thinking about this.
Okay.
All right.
So if anyone out there would love to drop us a line, like always, make sure that you drop your name because we cannot see it. We're going to get to the conversation tonight. We're going to get in, get out, get the questions, get the comments, and get the conversation rolling.
All right.
So remember, we cannot see your name, so we want to welcome you and we want to shout you out. So
Yeah,
please drop your
welcome,
name
guys.
in the comments. You can drop some heart emojis, whatever it is. You don't even have to say anything if you don't like. You could just drop an emoji or something, a smile.
Just let me know
a
you're out
wave.
there.
Just let us know you're out there and we'll shout you out. There are people who lurk in the back.
Oh, wow.
Who just sit back there and
right.
watch.
It's like,
but
hey, I
don't
watch
try-
you guys.
Right,
but I
right.
don't ever say anything.
And that's okay too, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
It's better.
As long as you're getting something. That's all that
right.
matters.
So we just want to make sure that we love on you. So we appreciate that you're here. All right, ready, Jay?
Yep. All right. So let's shift how you think about things, how you think about disagreements. Most people approach conflict like it's a fight, a fight to win.
Right.
But if you look at it through the metaphysical lens, and we are where, things get real. Conflict is just energy moving.
That's right.
Conflict, like you said earlier, conflict is just energy moving.
So it's literally the law of vibration, right? The law of attraction, or the law of vibration in action. When two people are on different frequencies, what they're doing is that their energy is actually bumping up against each other. So it's not you're wrong or I'm right. It's about two realities trying to catch that rhythm, or two people trying to see how they can get on the same wavelength, right? When we talked about, different frequencies, I'm up here, you're down there. And so when we disagree, it doesn't show that there's a problem with us per se.
Right.
It just shows that we're on different frequencies and our energy is now kind of rubbing up against each other. It's like,
But it's not a bad thing.
it's definitely not a bad thing. But what happens is, it's like that little irritation. You
Just
ever
a
had
little bit, yeah.
you ever had
But
something
irritation makes pearls.
it absolutely.
So
Right. So where the sand in the shell with the irritation makes the pearl.
Right. Either
But
way, irritation makes the pearl.
It's sort of like, you ever had, like, after you work out sometimes, or if you're sweating and you keep on the same clothes and when you walk,
You get
sometimes
irritated?
you get either your leg, your feet.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
between-
going to the gym. I get irritated
no,
when
no,
I walk
no.
in the
When-
door because I know what's coming.
Oh no! What I'm saying is, like, if something's wet on your clothes,
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
wet,
yeah.
and your body is rubbing up against it. Sometimes it can cause
It's
some type of
something like
irritation.
that sometimes when you walk in the rain.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So you want to check and see if we have any comments real quick, and then we can continue on. We want to thank you guys for hanging out there.
Yes.
And being with us on this Friday.
All right. So instead of how do I win, right? That's what we look for. Start asking, what's the energy I'm trying to show up here? What is it? What's the energy trying to show up here? Showing in a place where you feel grown, your partner hasn't caught up to you yet, right? So it's like you have an energy, you have a disagreement,
Right.
and now that disagreement, you feel like, oh, there's a problem. No, I might have grown past this, and now we are dealing with this challenge. Don't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that we're at two different frequencies at this point. So, but again, so that shows where you can still, have a lot of healing to do. So if you have some things that you need to overcome, forgiveness, reconciliation, whatever, you name it, it could be any of those things.
All right. So here's the part where people don't always get when we're talking about frequencies, right? So people who never argue never really realize how to resolve conflict healthy,
True.
right? So when we are disagreeing, it usually means that we're not in sync, that we're just avoiding the need to have conflict. So most people, so let's say, for instance, you and I are arguing and someone sees
Okay.
it. They say, okay, well, something must be wrong.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't mean that something's per se wrong. It means that I see things from a different perspective than he may see things, just like you and your mate. And so what it does, it brings the awareness that there either needs to be a conversation, just communicate better, that there needs to be a conversation, but also it's a recognition that how do we get both of our energies to coexist in the same space? So how do it sort of like goes back to the saying, we agree to disagree, but it's a little bit
Well, you know
more
what? I
than
think
that.
a lot of times when I hear that statement, we agree to disagree. I think sometimes we use it as a cop out. It's like
Right,
there's
that's-
no there's no
that's-
resolution. We're gonna agree to disagree and call it that.
And you know what? And that's exactly what I was going to say. People use that to say that, okay, I don't agree with you,
Right.
and you don't see things my way, so I'm just going to stop, arguing with you. So that's why I said it's sort of like that, but it's
Right.
not. It's
Right.
it's more of realizing that, okay, we can agree to disagree, but it has to go a step further. It has to be able to allow each other to see from the other person's perspective. So what it means is that, okay, we are existing in two different realities,
There you
which
go.
means that the way that I see something is not the way that you see something.
True.
And it doesn't mean that your way of seeing it is right or that my way of seeing it is right. What it means, and this is where that empathy comes in, right? Being able to see things from the other person's point of view that gives you a greater insight. But if you're just standing on the other side, hollering,
Or judging.
or just not willing to shift your perspective.
Okay.
This is
Or
my-
not come off your point, right?
So,
if I have a point,
so
right.
this is my stance, and I'm going to continue to push it so that you can either agree with me. But when you don't agree with me, I'm just going to cop out and say, well, this is going to be where we agree to disagree. But that's not really healthy conflict. That's really
no, it's
not
not.
communication.
No.
That's really not resolving what the issue may be. Because as we said, conflict is only energy. It means that there's two energies operating at a different frequency.
Come on.
And we're existing in two different realities, which means that my reality may be that this is wrong. Your reality may be that, hey, there's nothing wrong with it.
True. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
And what that does, what conflict does, is it lets us know that we're seeing things differently.
But it's okay to see things differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Most people think that if we're disagreeing, that we having a problem.
And I would add to that to say that it can become a problem.
I'm
right?
sure it
So-
can.
right,
Yes.
so-
Yeah.
But,
But I'm saying on the outside looking in, I mean, like, who agrees with each other all of the time? That's abnormal to say that we agree on everything.
And
That's
I-
just
what
not
I-
going to happen.
yeah, and
It's healthy to disagree. Well, it's normal to disagree.
it is normal disagree because you are two different people.
There you go.
And so, but we have to look at it in a sense of saying, since we're two different people
Mm-hmm.
and we have different experiences,
Yes.
how do I kind of take a stand back to allow your energy to exist in my space?
I think we have
Right,
to
so
be
that's-
open. Right. I think we have to be open to that. Yes.
That's part of the reconciliation that people have to realize that even though we've created this type of dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
when people are so gun-ho, for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
to get their point across and be right, that's when conflict becomes a problem.
Yeah.
When you're looking to only create it in that one, you're only looking to see it in that one way.
Sure.
And you're not willing to compromise. Let's get a question real quick. So
Okay.
one of the questions that I came up with for today is, when was the last time you and your partner or anyone disagreed, and instead of trying to be right, which we always do, you stop to ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach us?
Wow.
Right? So
That's a grown up question,
so let's
especially in the heat of the disagreement, to stop and say, what am I trying to be teaching? What is the universe trying to show me?
and part of what what I was trying to say is that that's where that, okay, look, I understand we see things differently.
Right.
And so that's where it can either become a problem
Right.
or it can become a learning experience. It can be,
It should always be a learning
I
experience.
would actually say a growing experience.
Right.
Because when I stop to pause and say, well, I'm not looking to be right. I'm not looking to convince you, or someone's not looking to convince the other person to see it their way. That's when they're trying to be able to say, okay, let me stop. Let me take a stance back, and let me actually hear what you're saying,
Ooh.
see what you're saying,
Ooh.
and then kind of say, what is this moment trying to either show me, grow me, teach me, learn me, whatever
We have to tamp down.
terminology.
We have to tamp down emotions. We have to our past, everything that goes along with when we have these disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we're not arguing from this particular moment right now.
Right.
Right. So when that comes up and you say, "Oh, what is this coming? What is this? Why is this here? And what is it trying to teach us?" That's the moment where you go, "Well, wait a minute. I'm not right or I'm not wrong. She's not right or wrong. But what am I supposed to get from this disagreement? Obviously we need to grow past this. Then what am I supposed to get from it?"
Or it's sort of like that iceberg,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So one of the tools that we use is kind of like the iceberg. You only see the tip. You're only arguing about that last bag of chips, right?
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
So people are arguing about that last bag
Right.
of chips,
Which has nothing to do with it.
which that's just the tip of it.
Yep.
What's really going on? What you really have to ask yourself.
What you're arguing about is all of that stuff underneath the water.
It's underneath the water.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about when you stop and say, well, what is this trying to show me? Because most of the time, arguments aren't from what you're arguing about. It's like that last straw.
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to stop and say, what is this really about? What is underneath the water? So you only see the tip of the iceberg from on top of the water, but it's this big old thing underneath the water, which means that, okay, we're actually arguing about what happened last month. And we're actually
And
having
sometimes you start out with a conversation and that stuff comes out like a volcano. It just erupts.
it's because we didn't, as we said before, we didn't resolve
Exactly.
the other issues, or we didn't allow the other issues to be present enough where we can be grown up enough, right, to have these conversations so that both of those opinions or points of views can exist in the same space.
So that's now there it is right there. So now when you're having a conversation or disagreement, however you want to say it, and things come up that has nothing to do with what you guys were talking about, that's a teachable moment. That tells you right then and there what you're arguing about or what you're disagreeing about has nothing to do with the said argument. It's probably about the stuff that's being erupted from the person's soul. So what's coming out? Because sometimes
it's really unresolved conflict.
it is unresolved conflict, but it goes
unspoken expectation.
But
it's like
sometimes you get water holes with
yeah.
all of those emotions and past experiences and things that they never got resolved, and it keeps coming up.
Or that we sometimes push down, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people say, "Well,
Eventually it comes up.
I just choose," and so there's two kind of ways to look at it. Some people say, "Well, I just choose not to argue about it." If you have evolved to a place where you can understand and choose not to, so some people say, "Well, I just choose not to argue about it," right?
Yeah.
So if you're choosing not to argue about it, you have to make sure that you're resolving it within yourself.
Come on.
That not arguing about it is actually a process that you take to realize, okay, that we think differently, and let me kind of see this in a different perspective. I'm not going to argue over it, or we're not going to have, a big debate over it. But when I move from it, that it's not still there, right?
Right.
It's not just sweeping it under the carpet. It's actually sweeping it into a thing and throwing it away.
Sure.
So we have to be careful when we say, well, I don't argue. Well, if you're not resolving what the conflict is or what the disagreement is, then you're not allowing two realities to exist in that relationship, which means that you're not allowing that person's point of view and to be heard, and they're not allowing your point of view to be heard. Because sometimes if we don't discuss the issues, then the issues are still there.
All the time.
Yeah,
all the time. They're always there. And like I said before, it's just going to come up. And a lot of times when we're having these conversations, you get bombarded by so many different past instances. You don't know what you're arguing about at that point, right?
Like
because they're giving you so many different things. Well, you did this last week. This happened, and before you did this, and I know you're gonna do this because of this. And after a while, you're just sitting there like, I don't know what we're talking about at this point. I'm getting mad.
Right, we started off at this, and now you're bringing up,
Right.
and just like this, and just like that, and what about this, and let's talk about last month or last year when you didn't do this, and that's how you know that the relationship has not evolved to a place where we're a happy couple, that we can learn to still have conflict. All right, let's greet our people.
All right, so boom, boom, boom. All right, Regina.
Good evening, Jason and Tina Marie and everyone. Good evening,
evening, good
Regina.
evening.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Super fan
fan.
number one. Yeah, I checked out that post. I had Versi.
Hi, Versi. Hello, Tina and Jason.
Yes.
Hello, or Tina Marie and Jason.
Yes.
Oh, my bad. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
So, so we have to just make sure that when we are choosing not to have conflict, that we're actually choosing to take a moment back or take a step back and say, what is it that's making me feel this way, and not allowing me to see things from a different perspective? Because sometimes knowledge and insight can actually shift your perspective in a way that you don't even feel the way that you thought that you were arguing about. But when we stand on the other side of the fence and we're not willing to come on the other side, it's like you cannot see anything but the view in which you're looking at, which means that you're standing there saying my point of view is right and this is a win-lose situation, whereas it should be, how do we coexist with both of our realities, both of our perspectives, and be able to understand them in a way that, oh, okay, I didn't see things that way. And it's not so much we're going to agree to disagree. It's more or less an elevation in consciousness where you see things differently, and now it's no longer a problem or an issue. But both people have to be there, because if one has grown to the other place and there's a conflict, that's also an indication, as Jason stated, that one person may have outgrown the other person, and the other person just hasn't caught up yet, or they haven't evolved to that state of consciousness or that awareness
Right.
of this situation. Because let's kind of be honest, right? Situations occur because we haven't matured enough to see them differently,
Ooh.
right? So,
And don't take that the wrong way.
right.
Yeah.
It just
Right.
means that
You haven't matured enough.
you haven't obtained enough knowledge
I was just going to say, or skills.
and experience.
Right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So you have to have the knowledge and the experience in order for you to gain the wisdom to see things differently and move on.
Yep.
You can go. Do you
Now,
have-
psychologically, disagreements trigger the same part of your brain that responds to danger.
right?
Your body says, "Oh no, something's wrong here." Here we
Right.
go, and then what you gonna do? You're in that the fight, flight, or freeze mode. You don't know what to do. Am I gonna fight? Am I gonna run?
That's
Am I
what we
gonna
do.
freeze? And you're just stuck.
And that's where that perspective, that shift, right? That shift in your mindset, because if the conflict clicks on that same part of your brain that says, okay, this is a fight.
Ooh,
Now you're looking to defend yourself, as you said. Am I
Right.
going to fight? Am I going to flight? Which means I choose not to argue,
Right.
Or am I just going to freeze? I'm not going to do anything.
Mm.
So if we understand that it turns that part of the brain on and us shifting our perspective, right, then that allows us to understand where we're going. You kind of got the camera down a little low. Then we're kind of going in the way of your reaction isn't about right here. So that fight, flight, freeze, it turns into that we're not arguing about what that moment right now.
exactly.
Now it turns
You're trying to
into-
get away.
now
you
it,
just
well, it turns into we're arguing about every moment, every situation, every conflict, every disagreement. That's what it turns into, and that's what that fight, flight, freeze kind of turns.
is that's how you get out of a situation. You're trying to just get out somehow, some way.
And it
You can't look at another person. You can't look at it objectively if you're trying to get out of there. If you're trying to find a way to get to a safe space where you don't have to feel like you are being attacked.
So as you stated before, right? So we're having this disagreement,
Mm-hmm.
and when I feel like it's a conflict or I'm in danger,
Right.
now I'm turning on the fight flight. Now I'm feeling as though every misunderstanding that I felt, every unresolved conflict, every time I felt unheard or unseen,
Right.
that's what those emotions come in, right? All those things that you thought, oh, I thought I was over that, right? They all come gushing back in.
Oh, okay. And that's why you'll see couples doing things over and over again, saying the same old things or bringing things up as it goes along. Like, why are the dishes in the sink? Or you arguing about you left this here again? And you're just
kinda-
arguing
Right.
about you having disagreements
Okay.
about all of the smallest things, right? And it's just turned into real fights,
Right.
But really, what you're saying is, do you see me? Do you value me? Do you hear me?
Exactly. So, do I matter?
Do I matter?
So,
You're right.
So with the conflict that turns into that, so that one argument or disagreement where our energies are off, right? We're not on the same frequency. Then it becomes us arguing becomes a point of reference to say, okay, well, wait a minute. It's not just about this. I never feel valued. I never feel seen. I never
here we-
feel heard.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
so that's,
I can-
That's
yep.
that's what
A
it turns
snowball
into.
effect.
It's that's, as we said, we're arguing about everything from before because we have chose to either push it down. Now, when that mechanism in our brain says, okay, hey, this is a fight. Let's get it on. It's like you're bringing out all the artillery, right? When people say don't hit below the belt, that's when that happens. So now that's where relationships can become disconnected,
Sure.
right? That's the moment. That's the deciphering moment where
Now you're trying to find that's the teachable time
Mm-hmm.
right there. It's like, okay, I'm full of emotion. I'm vulnerable. I feel unloved or whatever the emotion and the feeling may be. This is the time it's like, okay, I've been here before. How do I fix this? How do I stop feeling this
Right.
when we're having this type of disagreement?
Right.
So yeah, that's the teachable moment. But again, I'll say this: it's not easy, especially in the heat of the battle.
Right.
It's just not
Right.
easy. But it's something that you have to practice. And we have skills to help you with that, but it's not easy.
And that's where we talk about it's not just about communicate better.
Oh no.
Right. So when we talk about we have to get all the pieces to the puzzle.
But you know, what, let me
can't-
say this: like you said, we have to communicate better. A lot of times when people say we need to communicate better, okay, well, if I'm being quiet, I need to be more. I need to just speak up more. I need to be more bold. That may not. That's not better communicating. Yeah, that's
people
not
think
communicating
People
better.
think that's
Right.
that's the answer also.
Right.
Right. Which is going to be to my point. Part of saying we need to communicate better is that if you knew how to communicate better, you would be doing it. Right. So it's learning the skills to communicate better. That's what we have to understand about getting all
Well,
the
you
pieces.
also, getting the pieces. Sorry, but also knowing how to communicate to your mate. I mean, like if you don't like this upfront, brash type of tone, you might think you're a very effective communicator, but that doesn't go well with the person you're trying to communicate to. So you have to learn how they receive it, and you have to find a happy medium. Like you don't have to be over the top to get your point across.
And that falls into the category, right, of communication style.
Mm-hmm.
How do we receive information? How is my partner? How do they communicate, or how do we learn to communicate effectively? And when we're talking about all these buzzwords, right? People say, "Oh, effective communication. Oh, this. Oh, that."
Emotional intelligence.
What we have to understand is that there's certain things that trigger certain memories or certain arguments.
Yes.
And then when we're trying to get all the pieces to how to communicate, oftentimes we just get one. Well, I have to be able to get my point across. I have to be able to, as you said, Jason, right? So I'm usually quiet. So this time I know if I'm going to speak up, then I'm going to be heard. I'm going to be seen. And that's not the correct way. Because then what you're doing is you're creating more tension. You're creating more disconnect because now the person is saying, well, where is this coming from, right? And really what it takes is that you're saying, well, it takes that grown-up power to say, well, okay, look, I'm really not mad about the dishes. I'm not mad about that eating the last chip or the last cookie. That was mine. It's about, and it's not about being unheard or unseen. It's about understanding that, let me take a step back and really figure out why I'm mad. And it doesn't require, so often we want the other person to change.
Yes.
It doesn't require the other person to change. It requires you to change the way you communicate to that person,
Okay.
right?
I love that.
So, there's so many different dynamics when it goes into why happy couples disagree. It could be a multitude of things, but if we're not figuring out how to be ourselves in the space so that we can effectively create a space where I'm allowing you to see your reality and you're allowing me to see my reality, and that we kind of get that, right? We kind of shift our perspective to understand where each other is coming from so that we can coexist in a space that makes us happy. I don't have to think like you. If we're two different people,
Exactly.
right? I don't have to think like Jason, and he doesn't have to think like me, but we do have to be able to respect each other's point of view. It doesn't require him to apologize, right? It doesn't require me to say, okay, you're right, I was wrong, because there is no right and wrong.
Nope.
It's just two different
Perspective.
points, two different perspectives, two
And
different
it's
realities.
fine. And I think that's where the problem comes. We don't learn how to look look from the other person's point of view. We know our point of view, and we've gotten this far with our point of view. And if you agree with us, then we don't have a problem. If you disagree and I feel strongly about my point of view, then I'm going to argue my point. That's what society has taught us, right? Or because we feel like if we come off of our point, or we give up some yardage or some space on our point, then we're going to lose, right? We're going to lose the argument. But that's not necessarily the case. You just need to figure out, okay, I have strong feelings about my point,
Right.
right? But your points are valid too.
And so that brings me to another thing when we're talking about when people acquire some of these skills, right? So we talk about when you're trying to effectively communicate, use the I statements, right? So
Yeah.
that the other person doesn't feel attacked. But this is where, and this is what I mean by getting all the pieces of the puzzle, because we take that one thing, we say use the I statements. And so then the person starts to say, well, I feel that you're not doing X, Y, Z, and I feel that it was wrong, and I feel that you should apologize. So now we start using the tools that are supposed to help, but you're really weaponizing them, right? So and we have to be able to be careful, because now we're at a point, right? People are at a point where we're still trying to argue our point of view,
Even using the I statements, right?
Right. So
I'm
we're
telling you
still-
how I feel, but it's because of you that I feel this way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you're trying to push blame. You're trying to push, you want the person to apologize for the way you feel or the way you felt. Validation of someone's feelings doesn't mean that they have to apologize or agree with you. It means that you understand that their point of view and their is valid. How they feel is valid. How they operate is valid. What the issues that they have are valid, because we're not the same people and we don't see things in the same way.
We sure
But
don't.
we also have to understand we should be using those I statements for ourselves. How do I see this differently?
Okay.
How do I move into a space where I'm understanding, why am I mad? What is the real issue? Is the issue that he ate the last cookie, or is the issue really something underneath? Am I feeling insecure about myself? Am I feeling jealous? Also, when we're talking about and you jump in anytime,
No, I
but
got
when
you.
we're
I got
talking about when people choose not to argue, right? So we have couples
that-
that are
yeah, right.
married for 20, 30 years, and they just say, well, I operate as me and they operate as them, and we're really, they do their thing and I do my thing and we're happy. Well, is that happiness, right? Because conflict creates a space for love, right? When
Right.
we understand and coexist in both our realities. But if we're not interacting, then we're really disconnected.
Yep.
So if we're not talking about the things that bother each other, and we're really kind of tiptoeing around them, or
Right.
we just
We're just
find a
we're gonna avoid them. We're not
right,
gonna even
we
say
just find a
anything.
way to see them and not see them. We
Right.
just don't deal with them because of the how they make us feel, which means that there's conflict there.
Yep.
There's some uneasiness there. That means that there's something that needs to be said so that you can recreate that connection. That's what relationships are for. We're in this together.
Right. But again, it goes back to not saying anything is just as bad as being overbearing, right? It's a conversation, right? It's a disagreement. You need to be able to articulate your point of view in a respectful way and still respect their point of view. And it's okay. So, I mean, that's what we have to, but not saying anything is just as bad as being overbearing.
Right.
Grab that.
Oh, you got some over here? Okay, my bad. Go ahead. Move my hands up there.
Yep. Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, how's
Yeah.
it going, Kelly? Thanks for
Jason
tuning in.
and Tina. Yes. Thank you so much, Kelly. We really appreciate that. Thank you for chiming in.
That's right. So all of you viewers out there, please make sure that you drop it this Friday. So as we get on, really what we're trying to say is love isn't about
Keeping
becoming-
score.
No, that too. Love isn't about becoming the same person, right?
Okay. Right.
It's about learning to respect the two different realities, the two different points of views, the
Yep.
two different, the things that really,
Two different energies.
the really the things that make us grow.
Right.
Because
right.
if we agree on everything, when conflict arises, we're not
not
going to
gonna
know
be
how to
able to grow.
handle it.
Right.
Or if we avoid the conflict because
Then you still can't grow.
exactly.
Right.
Okay, right? So we're what we're really trying to get to a point of is that, okay, you're in your own reality, you're in your own universe, you have your own history, you have your own baggage, you have your own situations and circumstances, your own way of dealing with things, and I have the same way, right?
That is correct.
So how do those two things overlap? Right? That's where you need to get to. How do they get to overlap without the friction? That's what we're trying to get to.
Right. Without the friction. Right.
Right.
And it's okay. Right. It's okay that we have all these different things separately, but coming together and we respect that space. It's almost like a Venn diagram. Right. Well,
Right.
Right.
That's
Right,
exactly
we got
what it
our
is.
stuff.
That's,
and then,
that's exactly what it is.
exactly.
Right.
So then we just have to learn to work in that space that we need to work together. Yeah.
Right.
But but that friction, that's where the growth happens. That's when you know you're growing, right? When you have that friction, like I said about the pearl.
Right.
Discover new ways of being. And sometimes the goal isn't to, hold on to the arguments or agree. It's to hold a space for both truths to exist, right?
For my truth to
right, for
because-
yours and mine,
and,
right?
and I think that's what we mean by when people say, well, if you don't hear me or you don't agree, then you're invalidating my feelings. And so and I just can't say this enough. We get this these buzzwords. We get this one-day training. We get this one-sided training.
Right.
And we take it and we run with it, right? My job taught me, or I took this, or I took that. It's the dynamics in the relationships that help you to understand how these tools are supposed to work, right? If I have a knife and it's a butter knife and I'm trying to cut, an orange with it or something with
some meat.
some
Just meat.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's not doing a very effective job,
Right.
but that knife is effective. That knife has it serves its purpose
Right.
if I'm trying to spread soft butter.
Yes.
Right? So
Right.
we have to understand that you have to use the right tool in the right place. And we can't just
What it is designed for.
what it is designed for. We can't just say, well, hey, I have a knife and
Oh,
it's
any
sorta
old knife.
it's like the I statements, right? So the thing is, how do we think the same? How do we love each other through the differences? How do we get to a place where I can understand that we're different, our points of view are different,
Yep.
right?
And I love you anyway.
And it's not about loving anyway. It's about loving as way.
Okay.
right?
I know what you're saying.
It's
I
like
know what you're saying, right.
That
No,
Venn
it's like,
diagram,
right.
right. So
Right.
how do you have your way, I have my way, and then we
A lot of times, again, people, and we've had
Do we have any
couple.
comments?
Yep.
Okay, yep. Can you get that? Okay.
Yeah, I sure
sorry.
can.
Hey,
Hey,
Nancy,
Nancy.
thank you for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you for popping in. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Don't forget, guys, just drop your name. If you're out there in the back, all the way back there,
Come to the front.
we can
Come
see
to
you.
the front,
Just
say
drop
hey.
your name.
Right.
Right.
Just tiptoe to the front and
All
say
right.
hey.
So now let's get into talking about those season couples, right? Those people
Uh-huh.
who have been married
20, 30, 40 years.
right?
And you ain't trying to rock the boat. You're just like, hey, look, he is who he is. I am who I am. And we just going to keep going.
Right. So you know that just disagreements just don't stop because, right, you've been together a long
Right,
time.
no.
Actually, that's more disagreement. But here's the shift. After a while, it's not about winning anymore. And it's not about compromise.
Okay.
And it's not about losing. It's totally about connection. It's totally about we have moved from the early stages, the 10-year venture, the
Right.
20-year venture, the 30-year venture. How
some
do
time
we
in the game.
stay connected where the love, because if the love isn't there, if we are compromising the love, guys, then what is the point of saying we're married? What is the point
Or
of being
even,
together?
or I was just going to say, just being together. That's right. Disagreements are actually part of keeping it fresh.
That's what we found. So when we disagree, we find out that's just an opportunity for when we.
That's an opportunity for growth.
It's sort of like that song, "Break Up to Make Up" or
Yeah.
"Make Up to Break Up" or whatever the song
yeah,
is.
stylistic. Break up. Because every time you hit a bump,
Right.
you get a chance to re-choose each other.
Right.
And to keep re-choosing, the relationship will come alive.
Right.
So we're hitting these bumps and we're having these issues.
And so
and at the end, I say, look, I still choose you. I love
I
you.
still choose you. After 30 years, I still choose you. That's the point. It's about connection.
That's it.
Right?
Right.
So it's not dreading the disagreements, or actually we can look at our disagreements as that checkpoint, right? We're like, if we haven't argued in a while or we haven't disagreed in a while, then we're both stagnant. Our relationship is stagnant.
Well,
Right.
well, that's funny because when you said that we haven't argued in a while. Now don't go out there and start no argument because you haven't argued in a while. Okay.
Well, you have to understand what that means.
Right.
Right. If you haven't argued in a while,
Yes. That means you're on good footing.
And you're disconnected. That's one sign. Now, if you've argued constantly,
Ooh.
then that is also an indication that there's something inside of you that is signaling you, that either you need to grow or that you're in the process of growing, because that's that uncomfortable space.
That is the main takeaway here. When you're dealing with a disagreement, that is the time that you know that you need to grow.
You need to grow, which means that we cannot continue to do things the same way we've always done it, even with the people we've been with 20 or 30 years. What does that mean? That means
because
that
everything evolves, right? You evolve, the relationship evolves. So yeah, you cannot, like, if what worked 10 years ago is not going to work 30, 20 more years, down the road. You're going to have to evolve and see, because your tricks don't work on me like they used to.
right, your tricks, exactly. What you mean tricks?
I mean, the little things that you have don't actually work like they used to, but that's okay. We got somebody here.
Okay. Hey, Mia Miller or Miller Mia, thank you for checking in.
Hey, good evening, fam.
All right, so shout out to all of the August birthdays while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
Happy birthday, Jason. What?
Yeah, they say Leos, right? Because we got some interruptions in there because we got some Virgos at the end of the month. But it's Leo season.
Oh, just the Leo. Well,
Leo
I can't say
season.
that. Well, I'm just gonna say happy birthday to all of the people
We
in
want
August. So Jason's birthday.
We want to have the Leos.
The Leos and the Virgos.
We coming to the front. Leos coming to the front
All
right now.
So happy birthday to all of the August people. Jason's
Leos.
birthday was last week before last, one of these days.
Yep, it was. It was.
So happy birthday to Jason and all of the Leos and Virgos out there, all of the August people and the Leos from July. If we did,
Yes,
I think
yeah,
we
we
said
got
happy birthday from
July.
July. Okay. So all right. So remember
Yep.
when we're arguing, when there's conflict, when there's a little ruffles of the feathers, right? That means that something in your relationship is telling you to grow outside of the way you've always been handling things. Wow. Right?
Yep.
So you and your partner.
I don't want you guys to miss this, right? It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to see that this is something that you need to, obviously the way that you handled it before won't work now. So now you need to grow beyond that. Not saying that, I know what he's going to do. He's going to say a couple words and then he's going to storm off. No, if you know that much, then you know it's not working. So the reason why you guys keep going back and forth is because you need to find another way to resolve this particular issue.
And you need to, not need to, let me reframe that. So also, as individuals, we have to start seeing things differently.
Yeah.
Right? So my biggest thing is don't major in the minor.
Yeah.
So if Jason ate the last cookie, so what? He ate the last cookie.
Why you pick cookies? That's my weakness.
Whereas before, maybe I would have gotten upset because he ate the last cookie, and maybe he ate all of the whole pack, and I left 10 for me, and now they're gone.
Listen, I have a problem with things spoiling, so I don't want it to spoil.
So what I have to do for me is say, okay, the cookies really isn't that big of an issue.
Nope.
If the cookies are gone, I can just go out and buy some more. So it's being able to make sure that when we're talking about that change, is seeing things different, seeing things differently. Whereas things that maybe used to bother me, maybe if I shift my perspective and I take the time to say, what is it in me that makes me get so angry? Let's just say, if he ate my favorite piece of cake, and it was the last piece of cake, and I bought that piece of cake for me, instead of me getting upset and having an argument about it, it's me being able to understand, okay, why am I really angry? Because if the cake can be replaced, it's not a big thing.
True.
Right? Why do we get so upset over things that we say yours and mine? But at the end of the day, we want connection. So connection is about both of us.
It is, but it's something about mine.
Right? People say, this is mine.
This is mine.
That's why. Do I say that a lot?
No, you don't. But here's it. But what you do?
What do I do?
I'll
tell the audience. Don't.
Okay.
Don't.
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
So what you do is I'll eat your cake.
Do what?
I'll eat your cake, and then you won't have a fit about it. You'll be like, oh, that's okay. We'll just get another one.
Right.
Yeah, you say that a lot.
Right.
And I had to go to that point.
Does that mean that you eat my cake a lot?
Well, it may not be your cake. It might be your cookies. It might be your pie. It might be whatever in the refrigerator.
And it's being able to realize that you just have no
control. If it's there, I'm going to eat it.
You have have no control. And so, but really, the serious issue is that we cannot take the tools to make effective communication effective and only use them as, hey, I'm going to show you my point of view as to why you're wrong. We just have to start seeing things differently. And speaking of, and we have to make sure that we're keeping our love alive. We're keeping the connection. The whole point of having healthy relationship is to keep the connection alive. And that's any relationship. If I'm disconnected with my sister, my mother, my coworker, then that relationship really isn't working. So that takes me into this other point. So now, since we're talking about keeping the love alive or keeping the communication, the lines of communication, or shifting our perspective, seeing things different, Jason and I would have some great, exciting news for you guys.
Great and exciting news.
Right? What do we have, Jason?
Our new book, newly released, it will come out August 19th. Taking Your Relationships Off Cruise Control is dropping August 19th, 2025. It's all about breaking out of autopilot and creating connection that actually feeds your soul. All of your relationships, we're talking about your relationship to yourself, your family and friends, work,
money
and educational,
things.
material things, and also intimate. So we cover on all bases. Whichever one you show up in is the one we're talking about.
And when we're talking about cruise control, it ties right into this conversation. We put our relationships on autopilot, right? Which means that we've created this dynamics between us where we either argue and then we stop talking to each other.
Yep.
And then we start talking for whatever reason, but we still haven't resolved the issue. I'm still feeling unheard. You're feeling disrespected, or whatever the situation may be for each person. And so what we've done is we've clicked that autopilot. This is how that relationship we've created. And so we're just every month, every week is the same thing over and over and over again. And only thing that it's doing is creating a further and further disconnection. So when we're talking about taking them off autopilot, it means, what relationship have we created? What dynamics does our relationship operate out of? And how do we shift it? How do we change it? How do we change ourselves, our mindset, into seeing that, how do I see things differently so that I can become differently, so that I can think differently, so that I can act differently, so that I can
be different,
so that the relationship can be different. When I take it off of autopilot, then I'm jumping back into the driver's seat of my relationship. I'm not letting 10 years ago, something that happened 10 years ago, still affect the way I'm loving you now. And that's what we do. I'm not allowing things that can be replaced to the way I responded before to continue to respond now.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about, autopilot. But in addition to that, so that's our book, new release book.
Woo!
You guys will see us posting it on social media. The other thing is that Jason and I are honored to be facilitating the Sunday service at Christ Universal Temple here in Chicago on August 31st at 10:30 a.m.
Yes.
You can come live at 11901 South Ashland Avenue, or you can tune in to cutemple.org for the live
broadcast.
live
Or you
broadcast.
can go to their YouTube page, CU Temple. Is there?
.org.
No. On YouTube is CU Temple. So we'll be there. We'll be hosting a panel. It's exciting.
So we'll be there. We're inviting everyone to listen, to come through, to join us. We'll be talking about truth, love, and yes, how to hold that space that we're talking about now, right?
Yes.
Even when you don't agree.
Ooh.
So we'll be discussing, we'll be talking about the issues of relationships and how to make them work.
Issue of relationships, issues of life.
It's you.
It's you.
It's you. It's
Like I said,
about
all the relationships that you show up in.
every relationship that you have, you got to be there.
All right, so here's the takeaway. Happy couples still disagree because they're still growing and talking, still showing up, still loving each other, still caring for each other. That's what it's all about. That's how happy couples disagree and still get by.
I agree. So it's not about, I can't stress this enough again, guys. It's not about having the same point of view. It's not about you and I agreeing all the time. It's not about making you see things my way or them or Jason making me see things his way. It's about creating that space, right? That safe space for both of our truths to stand side by side like us in our relationship, and we're thriving in it.
Yep.
You can still have your reality. I can still have my reality, because when we're talking about realities, what we're talking about is your past, your history, your experiences, how you saw love, how you were loved, how you need love, how do you communicate. We're talking about all the dynamics that make up you, right? So that's what we're talking about, where our differences, our love, our agreements, it can stand side, as Jason said in the Venn diagram, side by side, but yet overlap, and it works for us.
Yep.
But
it does.
if I'm standing over here and you're standing over here, we're not overlapping. So there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in your relationship. So when we're talking about learning how to move forward, please get all the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's not just about making someone see things your way, and it's not about learning. No, I'm gonna say learning these bits and pieces of tools and incorrectly using them.
Ooh, go ahead and grab this.
Oh, you got another comment?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right, go ahead. I don't know how to do it.
Okay,
So who do we have?
we have Sandra. Welcome,
Sandra.
It looks like I'm
gonna have to let some stuff go in order to,
grow.
and there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I was talking to my daughter. I don't know. I was talking to somebody, and I was telling
You're
them.
talking to somebody that need to let some stuff go.
Well, I was saying, if you have something in your hand, you can't very well catch something else if this is already in your hand.
Right.
And so, oftentimes, the stuff that we need to let go, we want the other person to let it go.
Yeah.
I want to hold on to this.
Yeah, because this is my stuff.
This is my truth.
Right.
And I want you to let go of your truth.
Yeah.
And I want you to see things. I want to open up my hand. I want you to see things from my truth. I want you to apologize. I want you to come on my side of the fence. Like, there's so many dynamics that go into the relationship dynamics.
Yeah, it does.
Right. And so when we stop to really ask ourselves, what is the main issue? And everyone wants to be loved, right? That's
Yeah,
the
they
whole
do.
purpose of being
Right.
together.
Love, heard.
Heard, respected, valued. We want to be seen, all of those things. But are you giving that to your partner? We want it, but are we giving it? Because if you're not giving it, you very well cannot receive it. And so for Jason and I, just helping couples to see your partner wants to feel the same thing you want to feel. Your partner wants the same thing that you want. The question is, how do we overlap? How does your reality and the way you see things overlap my reality and the way I see things? Because I can say, Jason, I didn't like the way you did something. And he can say, well, I didn't like the way you said this, so that made me do that. And so now,
then we in this volley, and we go back and forth.
so now it takes the grown up. It takes it's
Come
the
on.
same. We'll say, put on your big girl panties, right? Big boy draws, and be able to shift our perspective. But if I'm staring at this picture, if I'm staring at this book from this point, and I'm just arguing to you, and I can't see your side, it's not until I look around it, or I move it, or I see it from a different angle that I can start to understand things in a different way. Right?
You can see. You
can
have to
see.
be. You have to
You
be
can
able to
see
see it. But if I can't see, actually, like you said, being mature, see your point of view, understand. Like, okay, that's a valid point. A lot of times we don't want to agree with your point, because then we have to come off of our point. That's not the
very true.
case,
Yeah.
right? It's like, I don't want to say, oh man, that's a good point,
Right in the middle
right?
of the argument.
Then I'm losing my point, right? So
Right.
right, but yeah,
Or-
but it takes growth to say there's some validity to that, to what you're saying. I can kind of see what that.
And that comes from, really, sometimes we do think that after the argument. Like, you know, we sit back and we go, man, that really was a valid point. Like, but it takes us to be able to stop wanting other people to see things our way.
Yep.
And just put yourself in their shoes. How am I making that person feel?
Yeah.
Would I want to feel that way?
Mm.
And so
Right.
if I want to belittle you for doing something that maybe you didn't see there was anything wrong with it.
How would I feel if the shoe was on the other foot?
Yeah. And how does that make you show up in our relationship?
Right.
Right. So we have to understand when we're letting go of stuff, there's probably stuff that we need to let go of anyway.
Yeah.
Because we didn't
ask
learn.
her that question. Sandra, how long you been walking around with that stuff anyway? Right.
Right. Because the truth of the matter is we didn't learn how to create our relationships. They were just created.
Mm-hmm.
They
Exactly.
were just created from the experiences,
And
the
we
situations,
went
the
on to the-
circumstances,
right.
and
we picked a little bit up from home, and then we went out there into the wild, and then we just started picking up on these relationships and things of that nature.
we just what did it say when you patch things and
Yep.
and so we just patched our relationships. And so now that we're talking about relationships and we have books on relationships and we have tools on relationships, the question is, how are you now going out getting them and applying them to your relationship in the way they were what did you say? In the right way, right? In the way they were created for. If I got that all wrong, but you guys know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think I got what
They
you
were
meant.
created, right?
Right.
So if
Well,
a
like I
butter
said-
knife wasn't created to cut a steak, right?
Right.
So am I using the tool in the manner in which it was created?
Right. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Not just the fact that you got a tool belt full of tools,
Right.
and you constantly picking up the wrong one.
Right.
Right. And people say it all the time. It's interesting, right? We were having a conversation with a couple, and a person said that they knew how to communicate, and is sitting there listening and going, "Yeah, okay, I can see that you think you're communicating, but I'm confused at what you're trying to get across. So I know if I'm confused and I don't know you that well, I know your mate don't know. After a while, they just blank out because you're jumping around to too many different situations and times and places and feelings and emotions."
And that's
That I'm lost about what's going on right now that we're supposed to be discussing.
And that's a great point when I'm talking about the tools, because the person said, well, I've been trained on communication. I know how to communicate, right? Which means that part of communication is also being able to see things from the other person's point of view,
Right.
right? It's also being able to not let your emotions rule. So, right, we know we have the conscious part of us and the subconscious part of us. And when we get into these heated arguments, it's the subconscious that takes over. It's all of those things that everything starts
You've
coming
been trying
up.
to keep down.
Right.
Yeah.
So now if your emotions are leading the conversation,
you're done.
then you're not communicating.
Nope.
And if you're starting to communicate, right, you're trying to have that open understanding of communication or conflict resolution, and that person doesn't react the way you want them to react, then all of your training of communication then goes out the window, because you've been trained to think you know how to communicate. But how do you know that all of this time that you've been communicating is effective? Have you been hearing the other person? Communication is not just about the other person heard what you want and they understood. It's about,
Right.
did you hear them? Did you understand them?
Right.
Are you able to put yourself, like, just that different perspective? Communication is, am I seeing it from the whole picture, not just half the picture? So that's a very good point when we're using these tools wrong. When I'm telling you, oh, I know how to communicate, you don't.
Right.
You know?
And people will be like all aggressive with it. Like, yeah, that's not how you communicate. If you're trying to get something, I don't think that's the way to get it.
All right. So let's get on that. So the next time you and your partner are going back and forth,
Back and forth.
instead of thinking, here we go again, here we go, or they did it again and I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to go out with my friends. I'm not going to deal with it. Here's the opportunity. Here's another chance for you to learn better, for you to
you
learn
go.
how to communicate better, for you to learn what is really going on. What is the dynamics of our relationship? Is this something that is putting a wedge between us? Is it creating love and connection, or is it creating
Right.
disconnect and discord?
Right. Is it helping the relationship or is it hurting the relationship?
Right.
And that's
That's
one
what
thing
we
we
are-
need to
that's
pay
what-
attention to.
All
right?
the time.
If I bring this up and I hammer my point home because I want to know, they're going
the
to
hammer.
Yep.
So you really need a knife and you wouldn't get the hammer.
Right. Like, I'm going to really let you know how I feel.
Right.
And you hammer that home, the relationship takes the hit. You don't even hit the nail, the nail. You actually hit the relationship, and you wonder why it's falling apart. Another thing I want to bring up before we get out of here is the whole mine thing. This is mine. This is my
mine.
stuff. Mine.
M-I-N-E.
Yes, this is my stuff. I don't do this. Don't touch this. I put stuff in the refrigerator. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's stuff, people, right? And now a lot of times that affects relationships where you got to carve your stuff out. I got to put my stuff in the refrigerator. And if it's tucked over here, that's mine. And if it's over there, and don't let it sit in the middle because now I'm confused about who's, right? So it's stuff, right? So we don't make a big deal.
We pick up these bad habits that
but that's a learned behavior,
mine
though.
and yours.
Right.
It's not learned because my kids started doing that, and I don't do that.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too? When you talk about mine and yours, so then we start talking about family members. Your family, my family. Instead of saying the family, right? It's like that. So it's mine, yours, and we talk about possessions in the refrigerator, but then it spoils over to other things like your family do this because my family don't do that, and I'm saying that causes an issue because I love my family, and if you now attacking my family,
right
now we have a problem on a level. Now
Right.
I may not express that,
right.
but again, that's part of that iceberg, right? Because it's always your family's always an issue. So be careful with how you take control of the stuff that you say,
or how you bring up the issues. Period. Because if I'm telling you that I know how to communicate and I'm perfect and my family is perfect and my stuff is perfect and yours isn't, then that right there, I'm trying to get my point across, but you're not really taking into consideration how those words are landing with your partner or with your coworker or with your children, whoever.
Right.
Right.
It's all the relationships that you're in.
Right.
All right.
So just choosing our words wisely, choosing them in the way, if I said this to myself, how would it land? How would I take it?
We wouldn't say half the things then.
You're probably right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
'cause
Definitely right.
You know when you're trying to dig on somebody or just get a punch in or something?
That's a dig, right?
That's a dig, right? Yeah.
All right.
All right, family. So you know what we want you to do? We want you to share. Share this with your friends, with your partners, with your family members. Just share it. Let them know that you were part of a wonderful experience and you heard so much. And what did you do? You learned how to find love. You learned that disagreements
connected.
wasn't a bad thing. After all, it's healthy to disagree, but it's how you do it.
And that's a very. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to drive home to that right there. When you disagree with someone, it just means that you guys see things differently. But that's an opportunity for you not to keep continuing disconnect. It's an opportunity to see where the two realities don't meet. Right? That's a perfect opportunity instead of looking at it as, well, I'm just going to keep my distance or I'm not going to address it, right? Especially like in work settings or home settings or anywhere. Just use that as a wake-up call to say, everybody has the same thing inside of them, right? We see things differently because of our experiences or sometimes misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Right? This is an opportunity for you to grow, to be able to see things differently. And it doesn't require the other person to do it first. If you show up different, they have to show up different. But if you show up the same way, they're going to show up the same way.
For sure. All right, we got this is tripped out here. Whose refrigerator is it? That's right. That you putting the food in. That's right. So if it goes in the refrigerator, I'm going to eat it.
You know what? So, and it may have been my niece. It may have, and it was years ago. She said, why do you always say my refrigerator? Don't go in my refrigerator. Don't put that in my refrigerator. And it was really a wake-up call for me years ago because we get so consumed by material.
It might have been your first refrigerator.
No, boy, please. No. We get materializing. Well, not material. What is the word I'm looking for? This is mine. Don't touch. When everything is personalized, right? This is mine. This is mine. I remember the first time when somebody said, "You driving Jason's car?" And I'm like, "We don't have cars. It's not a his and a mine. I'm going somewhere. I jump in this one. You jump in that one. It's whatever one we want to drive today. You want to drive it, you drive. Like there is, and we've never done that because what's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. And now clothes, yeah.
I ain't wearing your clothes.
But I wear yours.
You do.
So there
I don't
you go.
understand
It's all
that.
good.
But I don't get upset about it.
But you're welcome to.
Nope.
So Right. So when
I won't even
Sandra
carry
said,
your
whose
bag right."
refrigerator is it? It's the house's refrigerator, right? So that means that everyone who has residency, it's their refrigerator. And that's the problem. We look at things and saying, that's
bought
not
that refrigerator.
That's not my house. That's their house. I'm not going to clean
That's
up.
my house. That's my electricity. That's my gas. I know exactly what you're saying. That's all of that.
So Sandra, Jason understands what you're saying. It's
Yes.
his refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And if it goes in, I'm going to eat it.
And so it gets to that. If you don't want it eaten, then you got to try to hide it. If money can replace it, then it's not a problem. Money cannot replace health. Money cannot replace the person. Money cannot replace memories, right? So let's start building relationships that leave lasting, long, loving experiences. All right.
All right, here we go. Kelly, positive disagreement are great opportunities for understanding each other's point of view and growth. 100%.
But you have to, Kelly. Exactly. That's exactly it. We have to look at it as an opportunity to grow, because we look at it as an opportunity. Well, most people who haven't gotten to that point, they look at it as an opportunity for me to take out the hammer and nail my point in. Nail my point in, right? And so if I don't feel loved, it's not because he's not loving me. It's because what he's doing, I'm viewing it as unloving. But he may be viewing it as love.
He's doing
So
the best he
that's
can
the
with what he
that's the
has.
shift in the perspective. That's the opportunity to say, well, hey, let's talk about this particular situation. When you do this, right? When I'm, we have to be able to create that safe space to actually have these conversations.
Right.
If you're avoiding your mate, you're avoiding these conversations, you're avoiding connection. And if you're not looking for, if you could communicate in a different way than what you're doing now, you would be able to already.
There you go.
So that's when you know that it takes growth, and you have to be able to seek out something different than what you think you know, right? We have to be able to get the tools, the books, the exercises, the understanding, the consciousness, the work, the self-development, the personal development,
Yes.
the mindset shift,
Yep.
right? Seeing things differently. We have to be able to do that first. Put the work in before we expect somebody else to change.
That's true. That's true.
All right.
As a reminder, we want you to know that love and disagreement can live in the same house.
All the time. We live in the same house. This is love, that's disagreement.
Yep.
That's
I will disagree with some stuff that does not make sense to me.
Love and disagreement. So
Yep.
we're the both. They
And I'm
can
like,
live
I
in
don't
the
like,
same house.
baby, I'm like, I can't get over that. Not like that. I'm like, no.
All right. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legendary Relationship. Go over there, click the subscribe button. Leave a review for our book, right? And then make sure for next week's episode, we'll see you on Love and Beyond the I Do. And remember, we have any more comments?
No, I don't think so. We are your dynamic duo in marriage.
And as always, okay. So make sure, guys. So we talked about that before. We was getting ready to get out of here, but back there, we talked about this. Back there, there's a QR code. If you guys have purchased the book, Manifest, so many things we said.
Yeah,
Manifest a
I know.
Joy-Filled Relationship.
We're so into the other
Right, so
book
many
now.
things. So if you guys have purchased the book, and if whether you've read it all or not, okay, if you like the first page that said welcome, go and leave a review. We would like for you to read the whole thing, or read a chapter, or read what applies to you. Read what calls out to you, right? Open it up, look through the table of contents, and see what speaks to you, and go and read it. But please, if you've read it, if you have not left a review, you can scan the QR code. You must have an Amazon account because you're leaving it on Amazon.
Right.
And so leave a review, please. That's really important. Don't forget our new book will drop on August 19th, 20th. I think I told some people the 20th, but it's the 19th.
Yep.
And we will be facilitating the Sunday service at Christ Universal Temple on August 31st at their 10:30 service. So please join us, tune
We
in.
would love to have you in the house.
That's right.
11901 South Ashland Avenue in Chicago.
That's right. All right. And if you can't be there live, then be there on YouTube. It is their what is it?
CU Temple.
Okay. Thank you. I was
CU
going to say
Temple.
Christ Universal Temple, CU Temple. All right. So that is it for us. And as always, we're in it to win it. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Have a great weekend.
All right. Till next week.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.